Chapter 272. Divine Craftsman's Remnants. Exceptional hidden weapons. Each one of these items had a faint haze of bloodlust. That reserved sharpness seemed like it would erupt at any moment. Even everyone here, all current or former title Douluo level powers, had felt a kind of heartfelt fear when they saw these metallic objects. Tang Jia pointed to the dull silvery components. These are Lu Gao's last work. He succeeded. He really succeeded in a heaven-blessed divine work. Senior Lu Gao, why would you be so stubborn? Those dull silvery long nails and components were the parts of the torrential pear blossom needle. Tang San had always felt his research into the weapon was missing something. Now he finally understood. Shocking him even more was that, within a short few years, Lu Gao had not only fully understood everything, but even completed it. That was, when the torrential pear blossom needle was completed, you had to use human blood and spirit to incite the sharp energy of the deep sea silver origin. Only then could you complete this number 1 ranked mechanical hidden weapon. Tang San gently placed the wooden box back on the table. Raising both hands, he emotionally caressed those dull silvery components. Suddenly, his hands moved like illusions, and each silvery component leapt out of the box as if they had come to life. Circling between his illusory fingers, a series of sonorous metallic sounds reverberated like pleasant music. As Tang San's hands came to a stop, he already held a 1 chi long cylinder in his palms. Different from the peacock pattern cylinder from before, this dull silvery cylinder only had 2 characters. Lu Gao. These 2 characters were written in blood-colored deep lines. That was the true blood of divine craftsman Lu Gao. Carefully replacing the cylinder in the box, Tang San took 3 steps back and fell to his knees on the ground, bowing respectfully to the wooden box, knocking his head on the ground 9 times. Lu Gao had worked all his life to perfect his craft, and absolutely deserved this bow. This was also the only way Tang San could show his respect. In a short 5 years, Lu Gao had succeeded in forging the Tang Sect's 3 absolute mechanical hidden weapons: the peacock plume, the Buddha's fury Tang lotus, as well as the torrential pear blossom needle that had cost him his life. Closing the box, Tang San didn't put it in his 24 moonlit bridges, but rather held it as he returned to his seat. His eyes expressed an intense sadness that was uncontrollable for a long time. If he had known earlier that Lu Gao would pay with his life, he would rather not have these hidden weapons. Tang Xia didn't console Tang San, and neither did Tang Hao, because they believed that Tang San would definitely handle his mood on his own. Tang Xiao's gaze swept the faces of everyone present, his expression respectful. Brother Hao, Chief Elder, all elders. What Chief Elder said that day was food for thought. Our clear sky school can't keep staying silent like this. The sect left behind by our ancestors can't be forfeit by our hands. I propose that the sect return. Does anyone have any objections? Nobody raised their voice, but the 5 elders' gazes all fell on Tang San. They all knew that the Clear Sky School's revival hinged on Tang San. Little San. Tang Hao broke the silence, rousing Tang San from his sorrow. Raising his head to look at his father, this moment he seemed to again see the strict father from days past. Restraining his emotions, Tang San drew a deep breath and finally put away the wooden box in his 24 moonlit bridges. Then he faced everyone else. I've been away from the sect for 5 years, and also away from the continent for 5 years. On my way back I heard some news. At the same time, I also once fought the previous Spirit Hall Supreme Pontiff, the current Spirit Empire Empress, Bibi Dong. She, like me, also has twin spirits. Moreover, her second spirit already has at least 7 spirit rings. If I'm not mistaken, her spirit power should already have reached rank 99. These words alarmed everyone. Tang San immediately went on. But, even if she's already reached rank 99, I'm still certain I can at least block her. Therefore, her existence by itself isn't intimidating. What's truly frightening is the Spirit Empire's full strength. Or you might call it the full strength of the Spirit Empire's spirit masters. I said before that the Spirit Empire controls more than 80% of the world's spirit masters. This isn't just empty words. It's also because of this that it holds the absolute superiority against both the Heaven Do and Douluo empires. Only, the 2 empires aren't without the ability to face them. The key is how to go about it. If we emerge, we will definitely be joined into the Heaven Do empire's faction, even if we no longer have the might from back then, to the world. With the 5 elders all becoming titled Douluo, the Clear Sky School's full strength not only hasn't lowered, but rather increased. It's bound to become an energy boost for the Heaven Do empire to confront the Spirit Empire. Therefore, I believe that re-emerging is better sooner rather than late. It should be completed as fast as possible, and connections formed with the Heaven Do empire. The Spirit Empire is currently integrating the strength of those kingdoms and duchies. If they finish, the war will erupt once again. By the state of the Spirit Empire, they've already completely severed the connection between Heaven Do empire and Douluo empire. Then, when fighting starts, they're bound to defend on one side and attack on one. Even if the Heaven Do empire's overall national strength isn't equal to the Douluo empire, TT still has the backing of the 7 treasure glazed Tar School and is actually stronger in terms of spirit masters. Therefore, I believe the Spirit Empire will very likely choose to attack the Heaven Do empire. Our Clear Sky School will re-emerge, and as long as we do, we have to strike a heavy blow to the Spirit Empire at the start of the war. Only if we do can we promote our sect strength at the same time as we order Spirit Hall Spirit Masters. But completely eliminating the Spirit Empire will still be an endless process. Their years of accumulation gives them a deep background. As for concrete strategies, that will have to wait until after I've returned to Heaven Do City and contacted the Heaven Do Imperial family. Listening to Tang San, everyone nodded one after another. Tang Xiao said, "Fine, then it's settled. The sect doesn't have anything to prepare either. In 3 days, we will leave straight for Heaven Do City. As for contacting the Heaven Do Empire," Tang San nodded. "Leave it to me. I'll leave after helping father restore his severed limbs." Restore his limbs? Restore his limbs? Tang Xiao and the 5 elders looked at Tang San, their eyes filled with incredulity. Tang San stood, picking up the sea god trident and walking over to his father and picking up that spirit bone box. "Dad, let's start now. Only, I'll have to cut open the wounds and also scrape open the bones. It might." "Nonsense, come on." Tang Hao tore off his empty sleeve, revealing a long sin-healed wound. His steely gaze seemed to hint that the Clear Sky Douluo who even dared kill the Spirit Hall Supreme Pontiff back then had returned. Tang San would never hesitate when facing an enemy, but in front of him now was his father. Seeing the shoulder where Tang Hao missed an arm, he couldn't keep his eyes from heating up, and the right hand holding the sea god trident trembled. Tang Hao glared at his son. "What are you hesitating about? I can cut off my own arm, so don't tell me I'd be afraid of a bit of pain." Drawing a deep breath, Tang San fiercely closed his eyes. He only paused for a second, then suddenly opened them again. His eyes immediately filled with an ice-cold divine light. In his hand, the sea god trident struck like a black bolt of lightning. Amidst a bloody flash, an inch of the already healed bones and flesh at Tang Hao's shoulder was peeled away. This inch consisted entirely of the unnecessary portions that had grown as it healed. That giant sea god trident was as accurate as a scalpel in Tang San's hand. Tang Hao's expression was unchanging, only gazing encouragingly at his son, as if what the sea god trident cut wasn't even part of his body. Tang San's gaze was exceptionally calm. With a wave of his left hand, controlling crane catching dragon was used. The wooden box flipped open, and that right arm spirit bone soared up, falling into his hand. Without the slightest hesitation, Tang San pressed the right arm spirit bone directly to Tang Hao's severed shoulder. Between his eyebrows, the sparkling golden sea god brand flared. A ray of sea god's light directly illuminating the place where shoulder and arm bone came together. The blood spurting from Tang Hao's wound had already dyed that right arm spirit bone red. Fortunately, Yin wasn't here right now, or there was no telling how she would feel seeing this scene. Golden blue splendor simultaneously rose from Tang San's right leg, spreading upwards along his body until it extended to the spirit bone he held in his left hand, and then swiftly poured into Tang Hao's wound. Miraculously, when the sea god's light enveloped the bone, Tang Hao's severed bone and right arm spirit bone instantly produced a golden mist. Previously able to keep his calm, Tang Hao now couldn't help scowling, showing how intense the pain he suffered now was. But when the golden blue light belonging to Tang San's blue silver emperor right leg bone reached the wound, the blood that was just spurting out immediately stopped. The intense golden blue light completely wrapping up Tang Hao's shoulder as well as right arm spirit bone. The whole process from Tang San swinging the sea god trident to the blue silver emperor right leg bone energy stemming the blood passed in the blink of an eye. Tang San moved as if he had already practiced this had already practiced this countless times, and he didn't let Tang Hao lose one more drop of blood. Seeing that golden blue light spreading, Tang Hao's expression also eased again. Tang Xiao and the 5 Clear Sky School elders couldn't hold back expressions of amazement. It was the first time they had seen such a miraculous ability. Before this, they had never even heard of someone being able to retransplant spirit bones after they were lost. Tang Hao was already very formidable, but his son displayed strength even beyond what Tang had at that age. The 5 elders' expressions were now already relieved. Even the secret unhappiness from losing to Tang San was gradually being replaced by joy. They seemed to already be able to see the Clear Sky School being brought back to the peak of the continent with the help of these father and son. Tang San took out a vitality banking medicine he made way back when from the wishful 100 treasures purse and fed it to his father. At the same time, he planted the sea god trident on the ground, reaching out and feeling the artery on his father's left hand, sensing the changes in Tang Hao's body. Tang San's expression relaxed very quickly. Everything proceeded according to his expectations. In the years he was at Sea God Island, a yin had always relied on her knowledge of the plants around the ice and fire yin yang well to continuously feed potions to Tang Hao. Adding in that Tang Hao knew there was hope for his wife's resurrection, his mood was also different from before, and he recuperated very well. Although he had severed 2 limbs, his blood and energies were still stronger than before. Consequently, the bit of blood he lost just now didn't influence him. Of course, this was also closely related to the method Tang San had developed for perfectly reattaching severed limbs. Others couldn't see through the golden blue light wrap, but Tang Hao and Tang San could both sense Tang Hao's right arm slowly growing back. The blue silver emperor right leg bones wildfire burns unending. Spring wind blows life again ability could perfectly deduce it under his peak mental strength control. At the same time, as the right arm slowly grew back, Tang San also infused Tang Hao with a portion of gentle mysterious heaven skill inner strength through his grip on his left hand, guiding his father's spirit power to unblock the just regrowing arm. Like this, the arm could completely regrow without any difference from before. For a full hour, Tang Xiao and the 5 elders didn't feel any sense of urgency. To be able to see this miraculous scene even made them feel a bit proud. Finally, as that golden blue light retreated, Tang Hao's right shoulder had already regrown an arm. If there was any difference to speak of, it was that this new arm was a bit pale and tender, quite different from the rest of Tang Hao's skin. Tang Hao looked at his right arm, somewhat astonished, closing his right fist. Spirit power flowed into his arm, and faint black light rushed out. The shoulder originally blocked due to the severed arm finally again completed a cultivation cycle, and almost the instant the spirit bone joined in that strong feeling, his spirit power rose from rank 79 back above the 80th rank. Even more difficult for him to believe was that this newly grown right arm didn't feel the slightest bit off. Dexterity, strength. It was like his lost arm had returned, so much that even the energies of the spirit bone were completely adjusted to his own. This wasn't something that wildfire burns unending, spring wind blows life again could accomplish. After all, Tang Hao's arm had already been severed for 6 or 7 years. The reason why it could be restored to this kind of condition was the contribution of the sea god's light. The sea god's light perfected this regeneration process. While Tang San was still happy about the recovery of Tang Hao's right arm, his sea god trident was already moving once again, and the same scene played out for Tang Hao's right leg. Restoring the entire left leg took a full 2 hours of work, and Tang Hao also suffered even more pain. But with the mental support from perfectly restoring the right arm, the process for the left leg seemed to go even a bit smoother, until the left leg was completely restored. Then his complexion grew a bit pale. After all, even if the blue silver emperor right leg bone didn't cost him much energy, the whole restoration process also involved his own energy. Reattaching 2 limbs consumed a lot of Tang Hao's own blood and energies. Giving his father another medicinal pill, Tang San brought Tang Hao to a quiet room arranged by Tang Jia, and repeatedly exhorted his father to immediately start cultivating, partly to unblock his vital fluids and restoring his original cultivation cycle, and partly also to use the reattachment of the 2 spirit bones to restore his lost spirit power as much as possible. As they stepped out in a yin and xiao, we saw Tang Hao with 4 limbs. A yin wanted to rush over, but was held back by Tang San's expression and gesture to his mother. Even though this was the first time Tang San helped regrow limbs, he could still clearly feel that, of the entire process, this period of time just after was the most important to Tang Hao. Not important to his limbs, but rather to the 20 ranks of spirit power he had lost due to severing his limbs. How much would be recovered would depend on the days just after his spirit bones were restored. Tang San helped his father to sit down in the quiet room. He himself sat down behind Tang Hao, telling Tang Xiao not to let anyone disturb them. Then he placed both hands on Tang Hao's back, completely releasing the sea god's light to envelop his father and support Tang Hao's cultivation. With the strength of Tang San's spirit power and internal energies plus the divine power of the sea god's light, there were undoubtedly great benefits to Tang Hao's recovery. Dad, relax your spirit power. Don't resist the spirit power I send into your body. Relax your body and mind, and don't rouse your spirit power to resist mine no matter what you feel. Tang Hao nodded. To his son, what distrust could he have, especially when Tang San had helped him restore his ruined limbs? Right now he was incomparably excited, but at the same time, he also felt that after his 2 limbs were restored, his internal spirit power felt as if boiling. In such a state, it felt as if just opening his mouth to speak would let it drain away. Tang Hao was also the genius of a generation, once the youngest title Douluo. Even though his current circumstances were the first in the history of the entire continent, he still cautiously kept his mouth shut. When he heard his son's plans, he naturally wouldn't oppose it. He also didn't know how he could make that boiling spirit power recover as close as possible to his previous peak. Tang San's spirit power was deep and gentle, flowing into Tang Hao like a great river. Tang Hao felt before that, even though Tang San also had the clear sky hammer, their spirit power was still a bit different. His own spirit power had the aura of an overbearing king, but Tang San's spirit power was one part majestic force, with an honest gentleness. After that enormous spirit power poured into Tang Hao, it immediately flowed along paths he didn't even know about. Very soon it reached a channel he'd never noticed, and the previously gentle spirit power suddenly turned sharp and stabbed into it. The painful feeling immediately made Tang Hao's whole body spasm. Tang Hao was unswerving by nature, and even more firmly convinced by his son's words. Even though the intense pain made all his boiling spirit power rush out, he still immediately restrained it and kept it from attacking his son's spirit power. This was also because it was Tang San. If it was anyone else, it would be impossible for Tang Hao to completely open up himself. In fact, if he let an outsider attack his energy channels, and they had the slightest ill intent, he would be dead without a burial ground. A ripping sound reverberated inside Tang Hao. Tang Hao felt his body tremble, immediately followed by a special force instantly rushing through this unknown channel. The boiling spirit power within him paused for a moment, and the next instant it immediately grew even more berserk. That forceful and carefree feeling almost made him shout. Tang San's spirit power never stopped, immediately charging at the next channel, constantly rushing, then breaking open. Throughout the unblocking process, Tang Hao's spirit power was also gradually mobilized. Even though he didn't move it, his boiling spirit power still grew even more solid and enormous with each channel it rushed through. His internal energies also growing even more unobstructed as Tang San's spirit power worked. Even though there was intense pain each time Tang San attacked, the carefree pleasure following each burst of pain was still something Tang Hao had never experienced. What was his son doing? Tang Hao didn't know. He also didn't see how Tang San behind him looked as if he sat in a steamer basket, his clothes already soaked through with sweat. Tang San was relying on his mysterious heaven skill inner strength to help his father open the 8 extraordinary meridians. Doing so would undoubtedly make Tang Hao's spirit power recover even better. The people of this world were no different than those in Tang San's last world, just that their cultivation methods were different. Tang Hao once possessed the greatest strength in this world, but his 8 extraordinary meridians were still just a bit wider and stronger than those of ordinary people. They had never been opened. Tang San didn't meet much resistance as he opened up the channels. After all, Tang Hao's meridians were so durable, they could easily endure Tang San's mysterious heaven skill inner strength attack. Finally, the last 2 supervising and governing meridians were burst wide open under Tang San's powerful strike. Tang Hao just felt an extremely piercing feeling instantly spread through his whole body. His saved up enormous spirit power went out of control again, madly rushing out. It pushed out Tang San's spirit power in almost an instant, operating frantically along his original cultivation method. With each cycle, that spirit power would increase substantially, the plentiful spirit power once again bringing Tang Hao a step towards the peak. Tang San slowly opened his eyes. This time his expression was already extremely ugly, a wisp of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. That was caused by the spirit power backlash after Tang Hao's 8 extraordinary meridians were all linked up. Only, right now Tang San was in a wonderful mood, that his father's spirit power could counterattack his. Counterattack is proved that his spirit power had already surpassed the 92 ranks he possessed himself. Tang Hao at least returned to the title Douluo level. This proved that helping his father connect to the meridians was the right choice. Right now, Tang Hao was already surrounded by an intense black light, his overbearing spirit power filled with a mighty intimidating feeling. From behind, his figure was tall and imposing. This was the appearance befitting the clear sky Douluo. Tang San gratified closed his eyes and began to restore his spirit power. Even unblocking his father's meridians was exhausting, and the spirit power backlash into him. This was still nothing for his valiant physique. As long as he cultivated for a little while, everything would return to the peak. When Tang Hao woke up from cultivating and turned his head to look, his son was long since gone. With a thought, he was already standing, raising the somewhat tender right hand and his copper-skinned left hand. The forceful feeling made Iron Man Tang Hao's eyes moisten. Back when he severed his limbs, he was already disheartened and decided to retreat into the wilderness. Who could have thought there would be a day he would return to his peak? His past ambitions and aspirations also seemed to return to him along with his strength. I'm back. Spirit Hall. I, Tang Hao, am back. Pushing open the door, sunlight bathed his whole body. The glaring light couldn't influence his sight in the slightest, and he saw Yin waiting outside the door. Even though Tang Hao opened the door extremely suddenly, the moment Yin saw her husband with all limbs attached, tears pushed out of her eyes and she threw herself into his arms. Softly caressing his wife's long hair, Tang Hao's face revealed a faint smile. He seemed a lot younger again. Even though his skin was filthy, he still looked just 30. None of that doddering appearance. Yin, don't cry. What about little San? Yin raised her head, looking at Tang Hao with hazy eyes. You've cultivated for 3 days. 2 days ago little San brought Xiao Wu back to Heaven Do City. Even though that child is young, his shoulders are already carrying many things. Tang Hao nodded silently. I really didn't expect our son to give me a new chance. I put too much pressure on his shoulders before when I couldn't finish it. But now I have already recovered. The clear sky Douluo is back again. Whoever dares harm my son, I will turn into ash. Yin's voice trembled. How? You really have recovered completely. Tang Hao confidently looked straight at the sun. Even though I don't know what little San did to me, my strength has not only recovered, it's even stronger than before. After you sacrificed yourself for me, my spirit power reached rank 92. Even though I was seriously injured afterwards, my spirit power still rose to rank 95. But my current spirit power suddenly broke through the rank 96 bottleneck, and my potential seems to have been completely roused. I feel like the strength saved up within me over the years has completely broken free, and I should still be able to progress for the next while. Let's go find Big Brother. The clear sky school. It's time to leave the mountain. Heaven Do City. Tang Sect. This place didn't seem to have changed from 5 years ago. The gate was only guarded by 2 tall, sharp-eyed Tang Sect disciples, but their energies were extremely vigorous. As their eyes from time to time swept the passing pedestrians, they would occasionally reveal radiant light. The strength contained within seemed like it might explode at any moment. These 2 guarding disciples' gazes now suddenly froze, because in their line of sight appeared 2 people. The 2 were completely shrouded in black cloaks, and one of them held a long object wrapped in strips of black cloth, clearly a weapon. Halt! The Tang Sect's grounds may not be approached. One Tang Sect disciple took 2 steps forward, blocking the 2 cloaked figures in front of the door. His gaze was clearly vigilant. The black cloaked person holding the long object raised the hood of his cloak, revealing long clear blue hair and a handsome countenance. His eyes were blue as water, and as deep as the sea. When the guarding disciple saw his eyes, he couldn't help being distracted, and the original vigilance was completely driven away by this gaze. He unexpectedly couldn't raise any resistance. These 2 people in black cloaks were Tang San and Xiao Wu. After helping his father recover, Tang San brought Xiao Wu from the Clear Sky School back to Heaven Do City. He and Xiao Wu's appearances were too outstanding, and so they wore big cloaks to avoid drawing attention. And for the first place to go, Tang San naturally chose the Tang Sect he had established. This was his foundation. His strength Hall Master Elder Titan here. Please report that Tang San is back. Even though he just faced a guarding disciple, Tang San was still very polite. Along with his strength rising, he had become even more reserved, unless his mood changed from extraordinary circumstances. But from the outside nobody could see the strength he possessed. These 2 guarding disciples had clearly entered the Tang Sect in the 5 years Tang San was away, and so they didn't recognize him. But that didn't mean they didn't know Tang San's name. This was the name of the Tang Sect master. You are Tang San. The disciple who blocked the mask carefully. Tang San laughed in spite of himself. Why? Do others pretend to be me? The 2 disciples exchanged looks, and the one who spoke before said cautiously, please wait a moment, I'll go report immediately. Speaking, he turned around and headed into the sect with quick steps. Tang San nodded with satisfaction. One tiny clue reveals the general trend. It seemed the Hall Master's training for the sect disciples was quite good. Before long, steps could be heard from inside. But what Tang San hadn't expected was that only one person walked out. Strength Hall Master Tang San, Tai Lung's father, Tai Nuo. When Tai Nuo saw Tang San, he hurriedly stepped forward and spoke respectfully. Tai Nuo respectfully welcomed Sect Master back. The guarding disciple who went to inform him also followed him back. And when he heard Tang San actually was the Sect Master, he and the other guard immediately fell to one knee. Tang San laughed. Uncle Tai Nuo, no need to be so polite. Why are only you here? Are all the Hall Masters busy? No matter what, he was still the Tang Sect Master. It was quite surprising that all the Hall Masters didn't come out to greet him. Tai Nuo said, Sect Master, do not blame them. Only I'm taking charge in the sect right now. The others all went to the front line with the army. Front line? Tang San was shocked, and also didn't step inside. He anxiously asked, what's happened? Is it war with the Spirit Empire? Tai Nuo said. 10 days ago, the Heaven Do Emperor, His Majesty Shui Bing, led his troops to the front line. He personally commanded an army of 1 million, with altogether more than 6,000 Imperial Spirit Masters. Our Tang Sect, the 7 Treasure Blaze Tile School, and the Shrek Academy experts all followed. If you returned, Father asked me to tell you to please leave to provide assistance as soon as possible. While listening to Tai Nuo, numerous thoughts immediately rose in Tang San's heart. His mind moved like lightning, already roughly understanding the situation. Very clearly, the Heaven Do and Star Luo great empires should also be aware of the Spirit Empire's present circumstances, and naturally wouldn't wait for them to finish their arrangements and come to invade them. Instead, the guest acted as the host, and took the initiative to declare war. This move was undoubtedly brilliant. At the same time as it could mess up the Spirit Empire's plans, it also took the initiative. No need to ask. The Star Luo Empire on the other side of the Spirit Empire was definitely also moving. Sect Master, let's talk inside. Tai Nuo got out of the way of the gate. Tang San shook his head. No, Uncle Tai Nuo, I'll leave the sect to you. Time is pressing, so I'll hurry and rush to the front line. I'll naturally come to understand the situation once I'm there. When did Shui Beng ascend the throne? Are there any Spirit Masters left garrisoning Heaven Do City?